Welcome to the Deep Dive. We try to give you the clearest, most useful take on really complex subjects, and today we're diving into the world of Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yes.
Well, it's a profound story, definitely a complicated one.
Yeah, absolutely. Our goal here is really to look at his life from all angles. You got this incredible 20-year run with the Lakers, right? Then there's the whole Mamba mentality thing. What did that actually mean?
Right. And, the controversies, too, they shaped how people saw him.
Exactly. And then almost out of nowhere, this huge success after basketball and film and business. So we're pulling together insights from sources that really cover his whole journey, start to finish.
And when you just list the achievements, it's kind of mind-blowing. You're talking 5 NBA titles.
5 rings, yeah.
An MVP in 2008, 18 All-Star games, 9 times All-Defense First Team. That last one always gets me for a score like him.
It really does. Shows the two-way commitment. But what strikes me, like you said, is how he expanded what we think of as an athlete's legacy. It wasn't just about the game.
Exactly. Winning an Oscar in 2018 for Dear Basketball. That's not your typical retirement plan for an NBA superstar.
No, it is not. That's pure Mamba, though, isn't it? That
Yeah.
relentless drive to master something totally different. And speaking of Mamba, we got to start with the nickname, the Black Mamba.
Okay, yeah. Where did that come from?
He actually adopted it himself, inspired by the snake, obviously. He talked about its ability to strike with 99% accuracy at maximum speed in rapid succession.
Wow. So it wasn't just a cool name.
Not at all. It was like a deliberate persona, a way to separate Kobe, the person, from Mamba, the competitor, almost like an alter ego built for, well, ruthless competition.
Okay, so let's dig into where that competitor came from, because his early life, it feels so foundational to understanding that whole mindset.
Right. So Kobe was born in Philly, 1978, son of Joe Jelly Bean Bryant, who played in the NBA.
And the names are kind of fun facts, right?
Yeah.
Bean from Jelly Bean, Kobe from the beef.
Yeah, exactly. Saw it on a menu. Little bits of trivia. But the really unique part of his upbringing, the thing that set him apart, started when he was just 6 years old.
That's when his dad, Joe, hung up his NBA sneakers and moved the family to Italy to keep playing professionally over there.
Yeah, they lived in a few different places. Rieti, Reggio Calabria, Pistoia, Reggio Emilia. And this period, it fundamentally shaped him.
Oh, so?
Well, a couple of big things stand out in the sources. First, he became totally fluent in Italian, which, just shows his capacity for deep focus and learning.
Okay.
But maybe more importantly for basketball, the environment was just different. He wasn't in that constant grind of U.S. youth basketball, like AAU.
Less structured competition.
Less local, high-level competition, yeah. So what did he do? He focused. He studied.
And this is where the famous story comes in, right?
Yeah.
His grandfather mailing him videotapes of NBA games.
Exactly. That's the Mamba mentality blueprint right there, even as a kid. He wasn't just playing pickup. He was breaking down NBA games, studying footwork, strategy in isolation.
That's intense for a kid.
It really is. It built a different kind of player.
Yeah.
He loved soccer, too. Big AC Milan fan, apparently.
Didn't know that.
But when he came back to Philly at 13, he already had this almost professional level of discipline. It came from studying the game, not just playing it.
And you saw that discipline immediately when he hit Lower Merion High School. Started varsity as a freshman.
Yeah, and think about this. The team was rough his first year, like 4 wins and 20 losses.
Oof.
But he didn't let that faze him. That determination, it paid off. The next 3 years, they were dominant. 77 wins, only 13 losses.
And they won the state championship his senior year, right? First time in like half a century for the school.
In 53 years, yeah. But the numbers he put up, it's crazy for a high school player.
He broke the scoring record for Southeastern Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah.
More points than Wilt Chamberlain and Lionel Simmons.
2,883 points. Yeah, past those legends. He wasn't just good. He was, rewriting the history books locally.
And the national awards followed. Naismith Prep Player of the Year, Gatorade National Player of the Year in '96.
Yep.
He had the grades, too, by the way. SAT score was 1080. Could have gone pretty much anywhere. Duke, North Carolina, you name it.
But college wasn't in the plan.
Nope. He had his sights set higher, faster. Which leads us to that huge decision, declaring for the NBA draft straight out of high school.
At 17, only the 6th player ever to do that at the time. Felt like a massive risk, right? Kevin Garnett had done it, but it wasn't common.
It was a gamble for sure. But the Lakers, they saw something. Jerry West, the logo, their GM at the time, he saw Kobe work out against NBA pros before the draft.
And what did West think?
The sources say West felt Kobe just marched over the competition, like he dominated them. That workout sealed it. The Lakers knew they had to get him.
Which brings us to the draft day magic. Or maybe strategy. Drafted 13th by the Charlotte Hornets.
But that was all prearranged.
Right. Immediately traded to the Lakers for Vlade Divac, their starting center.
And that move, it wasn't just about getting Kobe. It was a brilliant piece of salary cap maneuvering by West.
How so? Trading Divac cleared the cap space they needed to sign the biggest free agent that summer, Shaquille O'Neal.
Ah, so getting Kobe enabled them to get Shaq.
Exactly. It wasn't just drafting a future star. Jerry West was building an empire. He basically engineered a dynasty right there with that one trade, pairing this incredible young talent with the most dominant force in the league.
Well, Kobe arrives in L.A. He's basically a kid, 18 years old, playing alongside Shaq. Debuted super young, second youngest ever.
Yeah, 18 years, 72 days. And he mostly came off the bench at first, behind established guards like Eddie Jones and Nick Van Exel.
They were trying to ease him in.
Seemed like it. But Kobe, being Kobe, he was already pushing for the spotlight. He won the slam dunk contest in '97, youngest ever to do that at 18.
So the flashy potential was obvious.
Oh, yeah, the flash was there. But proving the substance, the reliability under pressure, that came later, and maybe in the toughest way possible.
You're talking about the Air Bowl game.
Yeah, the 1997 playoffs against the Utah Jazz, Game 5, key Lakers were out, injured or fouled out, including Shaq. So who do they turn to in the clutch? The rookie.
And he shoots, what, 4 air balls?
4 air balls on huge shots, game-tying attempt in the fourth, then 3 critical threes in overtime, including a couple to tie it again in the final minute.
Man, most players would just crawl into a hole after the first one.
Right, but Kobe just kept firing. That's the Mamba mentality right there, even as a teenager. That refusal to let failure define the next moment.
Didn't Shaq say something about that afterwards?
He did. Even though they lost and Shaq had fouled out, he famously praised Kobe, said he was the only guy who had the guts at the time to take shots like that. Kobe really internalized that. Fail again, but you always take the next shot.
So by his second year, he was really starting to break out.
Oh, yeah. Points doubled. Minutes went way up. And he became the youngest All-Star starter ever in '98. The Lakers had 4 All-Stars that year. The talent was stacked.
But still no championships yet. What changed?
1999. Phil Jackson arrives, the Zen master. He brings in the triangle offense.
Which was supposed to help integrate Shaq and Kobe, right?
Theoretically, yeah. And it did make them more efficient together, but it also maybe amplified the tension between them.
The famous Shaq-Kobe feud.
Exactly. The sources are pretty clear. This was a dynasty built on, let's say, high-level friction. 2 massive stars, both wanting to be the guy, needing each other, but maybe not always liking each other.
But the results. You can't argue with them.
3 straight championships,
Yep.
2000, 2001, 2002, just dominant.
And the 2000 finals against Indiana, that series really cemented Kobe's clutch reputation, didn't it? Especially after the injury.
Oh, definitely. Game 2, he lands awkwardly on Jalen Rose's foot. Rose later kind of admitted he did it on purpose.
Seriously.
Yeah, pretty controversial. Kobe sprains his ankle badly, misses Game 3.
But he comes back for game 4.
Comes back, yeah. And it's legendary. Shaq fouls out late in the game. It goes to overtime, and the injured Kobe just takes over. He scores 22 points after halftime, and in OT, hits the go-ahead shots.
Playing through that pain.
Yeah.
That's Michael Jordan territory.
Exactly. It established him as that kind of player, willing to push through anything. By 2002, the individual awards started piling up, too. First-time All-NBA first team.
And he won the All-Star Game MVP that year, right? In Philly.
In Philly, yeah. And the best part, he got booed relentlessly by his hometown crowd the entire game.
Why were they booing him?
It went back to the finals the previous year against the Sixers. Apparently, he'd told some heckler that the Lakers were going to cut your hearts out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, peak villain Kobe. He didn't care, though. He kind of seemed to feed off it, embraced being the enemy.
So they complete the three-peat in 2002, sweeping the Nets. And Kobe's only 23.
Youngest player ever to win 3 rings. His playoff numbers were just getting better and better. He was proving himself as a massive clutch performer, even if, most people still called it Shaq's team. That perception was about to change, though.
Yeah, the era after the three-peat, that's when Kobe really takes the reins, unquestionably. And it starts with just this scoring explosion. His focus shifted almost entirely to offensive dominance.
Like that game in January 2003 against Seattle.
Exactly. Hits 12 three-pointers, an NBA record at the time. Just incredible shooting.
And wasn't there a month where he just went completely nuts scoring?
February 2003. Averaged over 40 points a game, 40.6, I think. Had a streak of 9 straight games scoring 40 or more. It was like a preview of what was possible when he fully unleashed his scoring.
But then came the 2004 season, the super team attempt.
Right. They bring in Karl Malone and Gary Payton, both future Hall of Famers, veterans looking for that ring. It looked unstoppable on paper.
And Kobe had some insane moments that year, too, like that Portland game at the end of the season. Oh, man, that game was legendary. 2 buzzer beaters in one game. One descended to overtime, another ridiculous shot to win it in double overtime and clinch the division title. Classic Kobe heroics.
But the season ended in disaster.
Complete collapse in the finals against the Detroit Pistons. That loss, combined with all the internal tension, especially between Shaq and Kobe, it just blew everything up.
And that led to the Shaq trade.
Yep. Shaq gets traded to Miami in the offseason. And just like that, Kobe is the undisputed face, the cornerstone of the Lakers. No more sharing the spotlight.
That must have been immense pressure.
Totally. And things got rocky immediately. Phil Jackson left initially. He even wrote a book the last season where he called Kobe uncoachable at times.
Ouch.
Yeah. Jackson did come back in 2005, which helped stabilize things, but Kobe was now leading a much less talented team.
So how did he respond to all that?
In the most Kobe way imaginable,
No.
but putting up historic scoring numbers. Which leads us to January 22, 2006, the 81-point game against Toronto.
81. It's still hard to wrap your head around that number.
It really is. Second most points ever scored in an NBA game. But you got to look at the context, especially compared to Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game.
Right. How is it different?
Well, Wilt's 100 came in a much faster-paced era. His team was force-feeding him the ball in a blowout win. They were even fouling the other team just to get the ball back to Wilt faster.
Okay, so Kobe's 81.
It was different. Modern era, slower pace. And the Lakers were actually losing at halftime, down by 14. Kobe basically had to will them back into the game.
So he created his own shots.
Overwhelmingly, yeah. Mostly mid-range and outside shots, often in isolation. He scored 66% of his team's points that night. And get this, just a month earlier, he'd scored 62 points against a very good Dallas Mavericks team.
62.
In only 3 quarters. He sat out the entire fourth quarter because the Lakers were blowing them out. And at the end of the third, Kobe alone had outscored the entire Mavs team, 62-61.
That's insane.
It just showed his ability to completely dominate a game single-handedly. He didn't need plays run for him constantly like Wilt did for his 100. Kobe could just take over.
And this scoring prowess led to back-to-back scoring titles.
Yep. Averaged 35.4 points per game in 2006, then 31.6 in 2007. Put him in elite company, like scoring 45-plus in 4 straight games, joining Wilt and Elgin Baylor.
But the team's success wasn't quite there yet, right? First-round playoff exits.
Yeah, back-to-back losses to Steve Nash's Phoenix Suns in the first round. That frustration boiled over in the summer of 2007.
That's when he demanded a trade.
Famously, yes. Publicly demanded a trade. Said the organization wasn't committed to building a winner around him. It felt like a power play, a calculated Mamba move.
Forcing their hand.
Exactly. Commit to winning my way or I'm out. It created huge drama, huge tension, but it worked. It led directly to the trade that changed everything again.
The Pau Gasol trade in 2008.
That was the missing piece. Gasol arrives and the Lakers instantly become title contenders again. And Kobe's 2008 season, it's incredible for another reason.
Look at that.
He played all 82 games that year, despite having a completely torn ligament in the pinky finger of his shooting hand.
Wait, a torn ligament in his shooting hand all season?
Yep. Complete tear of the radial collateral ligament. Think about the pain, the adjustment needed for every single shot. It's just unbelievable dedication.
And that commitment, that performance, finally got him the big one.
The 2008 NBA MVP award, his only regular season MVP. They made it back to the finals that year, but lost to the Boston Celtics.
The redemption wasn't far off.
Nope. 2009 against the Orlando Magic, 2010 against the Celtics again. Back-to-back championships, rings number 4 and 5.
And this time, there was no question who the leader was.
None at all. He was the finals MVP both years. The 2010 finals win, especially getting revenge against their rivals, the Celtics, in a tough Game 7, that was huge for his legacy.
He put up some crazy stats in those finals, too.
Yeah, in 2009, he averaged over 32 points and 7 assists per game in the finals. First player to do that since Jerry West back in '69. By the end of the 2000s decade, he'd actually scored more points than anyone else in the entire league. Just solidified himself as the dominant scorer of his generation.
Okay, so after ring number 5, the goal was obvious, right? Catch Michael Jordan. Get that 6th ring.
Absolutely. That became the singular focus. And this final part of his career, it's really a story about incredible willpower, battling against, the inevitable breakdown of the body after so many years, so many miles.
He started that chase strong, though.
Yeah.
Still hitting milestones.
Oh, yeah. Became the youngest player to hit 27,000 points. Tied Bob Pettit for the most All-Star MVP awards with his fourth one in 2011.
But that period also had some rough moments. The controversy in 2011.
Right. He was fined $100,000 for yelling a homophobic slur at a referee during a game. It was a bad look, a moment where that intense competitive fire really crossed a line. He apologized publicly and did a PSA afterward.
And the injuries started piling up more noticeably, too.
Definitely. He got a broken nose and a concussion in the 2012 All-Star game from a hard foul by Dwyane Wade. Just the wear and tear was becoming more evident.
But he kept playing through it, kept setting records. Youngest to 30,000 points in 2012. Passed Magic Johnson for the Lakers' all-time steals lead.
Yep. And the 2012-2013 season, that was really interesting from a strategic standpoint. Mike D'Antoni came in as coach. The team had a bunch of injuries. They were struggling.
So Kobe changed his game.
He did. He realized just scoring wasn't enough. So for a stretch, he basically became the team's primary point guard, facilitating, setting guys up.
They called him the Magic Mamba, right?
Yeah. Had a string of games with double-digit assists. Ended up with his second highest assist average for a season. It wasn't his natural instinct, maybe, but it showed that Mamba mentality adapting. Okay, scoring isn't working, I'll master passing instead.
But that adaptability, that effort to carry the team, it came at a huge cost.
A terrible cost. They were fighting just to make the playoffs, and they were leaning on him so heavily. He played 40-plus minutes for 7 games in a row, just pushing his body way beyond its limits at that age.
And then, the Achilles. April 2013 against the Warriors.
Yeah, the big one. A catastrophic Achilles tear. And the image from that night. It's unforgettable.
Refusing to leave the court until he shot his free throws.
Exactly. He hobbled to the line, sunk both free throws on a torn Achilles, and then limped off. That moment just perfectly captured his entire career, didn't it? The relentless competitor finishing the job before succumbing to the injury.
That injury basically marked the beginning of the end, didn't it?
Pretty much. It defined the next few years. There was controversy around his contract extension in 2013, too.
Right. The 2-year, $48.5 million deal. People debated that one.
Yeah, because he was coming off that devastating injury, but the Lakers made him the highest paid player in the league. It was seen as, a reward for his legacy, a commitment from the franchise, even if his future production was a big question mark.
And the next couple of seasons were tough. Lots of injuries.
Injury interruptions, yeah. He did manage to pass Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list in 2014, which was a huge personal milestone for him, given how much he modeled his game after MJ.
Still had flashes like those triple-doubles late in his career.
Became the oldest player, 36, I think, to have multiple triple-doubles in a season. But then another major injury in 2015 tore his rotator cuff. Another season cut short.
The body was clearly breaking down.
It was. The efficiency dropped off a cliff. Saying something like, even though I play like Ez, I've worked really, really hard not to play like crap.
Wow, that's raw.
Yeah, it showed that internal battle. The mind still demanded perfection, but the body just couldn't cooperate anymore.
So that set the stage for the 2015-2016 season, the farewell tour.
Yep. He broke John Stockton's record for most seasons with one team, 20 years with the Lakers. Then in November 2015, he announced his retirement with that poem, Dear Basketball.
Which was incredibly emotional.
Very raw, very personal. He basically said his mind and heart were still willing, but his body was telling him it's time to say goodbye.
And the reaction during that final season was fascinating.
It really was. Kobe had always kind of embraced being the villain, thrived on the booze. But on that farewell tour, arenas where he'd always been hated, Boston, Philly, Utah, they were giving him standing ovations.
It felt like a shift in perspective from the fans.
I think so. It was like people finally recognized that the very thing they often criticize, that relentless, almost stubborn competitiveness, was actually the source of his greatness. They were saluting the dedication, the longevity.
And the final game.
Yeah.
Well, it couldn't have ended any other way, could it?
April 13th, 2016, against the Utah Jazz, it was pure Hollywood. He goes out and scores 60 points. 60.
Leading a comeback win.
Leading a comeback win. Most points ever scored in a final regular season game. Oldest player ever at 37 to score 60-plus days. It was just signature Mamba. He didn't limp off into the sunset. He exploded one last time.
And then dropped the mic with Mamba out.
Mamba out. Perfect ending.
So let's try and really pin down this Mamba mentality. It's more than just wanting to win, right? It seems like a whole philosophy.
It really is. As a player, 6'6" shooting guard, incredible scorer. But he was also a adept student of the game. We talked about modeling the fadeaway after Jordan.
Right.
But he also famously went to Hakeem Olajuwon late in his career to learn post moves. Think about that. Already a legend, still seeking out knowledge, adding tools to his game.
That's the relentless improvement part.
Exactly. Obsessive practice, studying the best, breaking things down to the smallest detail, and then integrating it until it was second nature. That's why his peers respected him so much. NBA GMs voted him for 10 years straight as the guy they wanted taking the last shot.
He just projected that confidence, that clutch ability.
He really did. But that same drive leads to the criticisms, doesn't it? The selfish label, the high-volume shooting. He retired as the all-time leader in missed shots, at least for a while.
So how do we square that? Was it selfish or just necessary for his style?
It's a valid debate. Phil Jackson definitely thought he forced the issue sometimes. But Kobe's mindset, there's that famous quote that sums it up perfectly.
The 0 for 30 quote.
Yeah. I would go 0 for 30 before I would go 0 for 9. 0 for 9 means you beat yourself. You psyched yourself out of the game.
Wow.
That's pure Mamba mentality. Confidence isn't just helpful, it's mandatory. Doubt is failure. Missing 30 shots but having the absolute conviction to take the 31st, that requires an extreme, maybe even unhealthy level of self-belief.
And how did that intensity play out with teammates? He had a reputation for being tough on them.
Especially early on, yeah. Sources say he could be incredibly demanding, almost scornful, but there was an evolution, particularly after Shaq left. Phil Jackson noted it.
He became more of a leader.
More of a partner, maybe, started mentoring younger players, building relationships off the court. He seemed to realize that ultimate success required bringing teammates along, not just driving them relentlessly, leading through partnership, not just intimidation.
Okay, we need to address the most difficult part of his story now, the 2003 sexual assault allegation in Colorado.
Yeah. It's a crucial and very somber part of his life and public image. The impact was massive and immediate.
He was arrested after a hotel employee filed a complaint. He admitted having a sexual encounter, but always maintained it was consensual.
Right. The public backlash was severe. His image took a huge hit. Major sponsors like McDonald's and Nutella dropped him completely.
What about Nike? They had just signed him.
Nike played it carefully. They didn't drop him, but they basically shelved him for a year. Didn't use him in marketing, didn't promote his shoe. It cast this long shadow over his career for years, both financially and reputationally.
And the legal case itself?
The criminal charges were eventually dropped in 2004. The accuser decided not to testify in the criminal trial. Kobe issued a public apology afterwards. It's important to note the wording there.
What did he say?
He acknowledged that while he believed the encounter was consensual, he understood that she didn't see it the same way, and he apologized for his behavior and the consequences she experienced. There was also a separate civil lawsuit that was settled privately out of court.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, off the court, beyond the controversy. What else defined him?
Well, his family life became central, especially later on. Married Vanessa Lane in 2001, they had 4 daughters. Sources mention his Catholic faith was important to him. He'd attend Mass regularly.
And the languages too, right? Italian.
Fluent Italian from his childhood, yeah. And he picked up Spanish, too, would often do interviews in Spanish in the locker room. Just showed that sponge-like ability to learn.
And then came the post-basketball career, which was surprisingly successful very quickly.
Amazingly so. He didn't just retire, he pivoted. Applied that Mamba mentality to business, founded Kobe Inc., then launched Bryant Stiebel in 2016, a venture capital firm with $100 million in funding.
And he had some big wins there too, right?
Yeah.
Like body armor.
Oh, yeah. The body armor investment was classic Kobe. Calculated risk, aggressive play, invested $6 million early on back in 2014.
And that turned into?
When Coca-Cola invested heavily in body armor a few years later, Kobe's initial stake was estimated to be worth around $200 million.
Wow. That's a huge return.
Huge. It wasn't just a celebrity endorsement. He was actively involved, trying to disrupt the sports drink market dominated by Gatorade. Same competitive fire, different arena.
And then there's the Hollywood chapter, Granity Studios.
Yeah, his production company. This is where you really see that same obsessive preparation translate into a totally different field.
I mean,
He approached storytelling and animation with the same level of detailed study he applied to basketball footwork. He learned the craft.
Which led to Dear Basketball.
Exactly, based on his retirement poem. And it wins the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 2018.
Making him the first pro athlete to win an Oscar in a competitive category.
First one ever. It just proved that the core principles, the intense focus, the dedication to mastering the details, the Mamba mentality, they weren't just about sports. They were transferable to anything he set his mind to.
And then the story takes that sudden tragic turn. January 26, 2020.
Yeah. Just devastating news. The helicopter crash in Calabasas, California. Kobe, his daughter Gianna, who was 13, and 7 other people on board, all lost their lives. They were heading to a youth basketball game at the Mamba Sports Academy.
Just awful. The investigation followed, right? What did they find?
The official cause of death for everyone was blunt force trauma from the crash. The NTSB investigation pointed primarily to the pilot.
The pilot, Arzo Bayan.
Right. The conclusion was that he likely experienced spatial disorientation after flying into thick fog and clouds, which was against visual flight rules regulations. Basically, he lost his sense of direction in the weather. The helicopter, unfortunately, wasn't equipped with a black box, which made the investigation harder, but the focus was on pilot error combined with the challenging weather conditions.
And the aftermath.
Yeah.
There was that terrible issue with the crash site photos.
Yeah, a really disturbing situation. First responders apparently took and shared graphic photos from the crash scene. Vanessa Bryant sued LA County over it, arguing it was a horrific invasion of privacy on top of unimaginable grief.
And she won that lawsuit, right?
She did. Was awarded a very large settlement, around $28.85 million. A painful legal battle, but one focused on dignity and privacy for the victims and their families.
The outpouring of grief and tributes after the crash was just immense, global.
It really was. Reflected just how huge his impact was, far beyond basketball fans. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver called him one of the greatest players ever, which felt like an understatement at the time.
And the league honored him permanently.
Yeah. They renamed the All-Star Game MVP award. It's now officially the NBA All-Star Game Kobe Bryant Most Valuable Player award, a fitting tribute.
And the Lakers, of course, gave him the ultimate honor with his jerseys.
Retiring both numbers, 8 and 24 back in 2017, still the only player in NBA history to have 2 different numbers retired by the same team.
It really symbolizes the 2 distinct eras of his career, doesn't it? The young, high-flying number 8 and the more calculated, championship-focused number 24.
Perfectly put. He was also posthumously inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in 2021 and named to the NBA's 75th anniversary team. And the physical tributes continue statues.
There's one at the crash site and the big one outside the Lakers arena now.
Yeah, a smaller memorial statue was placed at the crash site. And then in August 2024, the Lakers unveiled the official statue outside Crypto.com arena featuring Kobe and Gianna, a permanent fixture honoring their bond and legacy.
When you look back at his career purely by the numbers, where does he stand?
Well, he retired 4th on the all-time scoring list, 33,643 points. That's incredible volume and longevity. Tied for the most all-NBA selections ever with 15.
And that defensive number again.
9 all-defensive first-team selections. Tied with guys like Michael Jordan, Kevin Garnett, Gary Payton, legendary defenders. That's the stat that really underscores his completeness as a player.
He wasn't just an offensive machine.
Not at all. For nearly a decade in his prime, he was guarding the other team's best wing player night in and night out while carrying that huge offensive load. A true two-way force. That's why you hear so many players from his era, KD, D-Wade, call him their generation's Michael Jordan. He set the standard for competitive excellence for 2 decades. Hashtag tag outro, outro.
So Kobe Bryant, definitely complex, brilliant competitor, no doubt, but also someone who clearly transcended the sport itself. That relentless drive, the Mamba mentality, wasn't just talk. You see it in everything he did.
Absolutely. That obsessive study, the absolute refusal to accept self-doubt, that aggressive push for mastery, it took him to the absolute peak in basketball. And then, incredibly, he applied it all over again in business and film.
He really showed that the mindset, the approach to getting better, it can work anywhere, right? It's not just about athletic talent.
Exactly. The commitment to mastery itself was the key.
So for you listening, as you think about Kobe's life and legacy, maybe consider this final thought. You've got his incredible defense, 9 all-defensive teams, and you've got his Oscar win. 2 totally different kinds of excellence.
Right.
So what part of that Mamba mentality do you think is the most transferable skill that really defines his overall legacy? Is it that fierce refusal to fail, that all go 0 for 30 mindset?
Is it the intense, almost strategic adaptability, the willingness to become Magic Mamba when the team needed a facilitator, or to dive deep into animation and storytelling when he pursued film? That ability to identify a new challenge and meticulously master it.
Because in the end, whether he was locking down an opponent or analyzing a stock for his VC firm or storyboarding a film,
He seemed to approach it all with that same calculated precision, that same unwavering commitment to being the best. It's quite a legacy to unpack.
definitely is. That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.